up guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who don't know me, my name's Jenna. This video has been long awaited by most of my followers. I'm finally going to be showing you guys how I give myself an at-home pedicure. Now, let me just give you a heads up, it's not like anything fancy. I don't bust out my pedicure tub and do all that kind of stuff. I really wanted this video to be about how you can give yourself a really great pedicure just by literally jumping out of the shower. That's it. I have not gotten a pedicure since my 5-star pedicure review, and they're looking atrocious, guys. Real bad. It's a mess down there. I know it's a mess, but it's okay because I'm going to show you guys how I cut my toenails straight, because yeah, some of my toenails do grow crooked, but there are ways to cut your toenails to make them appear straight. So I'm going to show you guys how I do that. And the reason I chose Sally's Beauty Supply is because I know it's one of the few beauty stores that is accessible to everybody who is not licensed. I did my best to find dupes for stuff that I actually use. You in no way, shape, or form have to use anything from Sally's. You can buy any of these items that I purchased at Sally's from Amazon or any nail supply store that's in your neighborhood. So keep that in mind, that you do not have to buy it from Sally's. I just chose Sally's because I know it's accessible to everybody who's not licensed. Without further ado, let's just jump right into this video. And first stop, we gotta go to Sally's. So let's go. So at Sally's, here's the list of things that we're gonna need to do our at-home pedicure. Barbicide, cuticle remover, acetone, cotton balls, cuticle pusher, nail clippers, pumice stone, quick nail dry, cuticle nippers, orange wood sticks, a nail buffer, a nail file, and dehydrator, base coat, and top coat. I also wanted to share with you how to make a quick DIY foot scrub using coarse kosher salt, coconut oil, and whatever essential oils you prefer for scents. I like to use tea tree and lemon. So the first thing you want to do is take 2 tablespoons of coconut oil and melt those in the microwave just until they're about liquid consistency. Then go ahead and measure out 1/3 cups of the salt. I prefer to use the coarse kosher salt because it's much more exfoliating versus sugar, but feel free to use sugar if you prefer that instead. Go ahead and mix that together until you get a nice slushy consistency. Then go ahead and add a few drops of your favorite essential oils. I did 2 drops of tea tree and 5 drops of lemon. That's my perfect scent. Alright, so this is my before. And before I jump into the shower, I actually like to take off my nail polish. And so I bought this pure acetone, and I'm just going to rub the nail polish off. And I would also cut and file my toenails before jumping in the shower as well. So I have these straight edge nail clippers that I own, and you can also buy straight edge nail clippers at Sally's. They're really good and helpful because if you have curved ones, they tend to make your nails curved, and they're a little bit harder to cut if you want a straighter nail. That's why I prefer the straight edge clippers over the curved clippers. Now, I know my toenails grow a little slanted, so I just want to clarify how to cut them so they appear straight. So if you cut your toenails just based off the free edge, your toenails are going to be cut to the way that your nails are being shaped. But if you cut your toenail just based off the way that your foot is facing, so cut it straight, then it should appear straight. So don't go with the toenail, go with the foot, the way the foot is facing, the way your toe is facing. So that way it appears straighter. Make sense? Straight up and down versus following the toenail growth. This is also why I like using the straight edge nail clippers, because they are almost like an easy alignment for me to see how I'm cutting them in the direction that I want them to be cut in, versus the curved nail clippers. You kind of gotta follow your own method, but the straight ones you can just kind of cut straight across in the direction that you want them to be cut. I really hope this is making sense to you guys. If it's not, just do your best to cut them how you see them straight. and then you'll end up happier in the long run. Also, if you're having that white debris or like discoloration on your toenails, don't worry about it. It usually will just buff right off. It's most likely just the nail polish. It kind of discolored your toenail, but it's totally normal. It happens to just about everybody. Alright, so I went to buy a file, and I like to use a 100/180 grit. So that's the roughness of the actual file that you're looking at when you see those numbers. When you're filing, you want to make sure that you're filing in one direction, because the nail fibers are crossed, and that's going to cause your nails to split when you go back and forth. So just make sure you're filing in one direction all the way around, and also make sure you're getting those corners, because personally I like my toenails to be rounded. It'll help prevent getting any ingrown toenails in the long run, because we all know how painful those ingrowns can be. So just file in one direction and make sure you're getting your corners. Now it's finally time to jump in the shower, and this would replace the step of you sitting in a pedicure tub and soaking, because I like to just jump in the shower, do my shower business and get it over with. Now I'm going to take this pumice stone that I got at Sally's, and the point of this pumice stone is to get rid of any areas that are too rough. So for me it would be my heels and my big toe on the edge. So I'm just going to scrub those areas gently, not super hard, until I think they're soft enough, and then after that just rinse them off. The next step would be to exfoliate my legs and feet. So I'm going to use that scrub that I made earlier, and now I just want to give you guys a heads up that you're not supposed to shave 24 hours prior to getting a pedicure, because when you shave you open your pores, which makes you more prone to bacteria. So I have not shaved in this scenario, but I'm just going to rub this scrub all over my legs and all over my feet, and especially in those rough areas, and just try to really make them feel silky smooth by the end of my shower. Now this at-home scrub is definitely a little bit more oily than most scrubs, but that's something I really like about it because my skin is very dry, so it's definitely very hydrating. As you can see, my toes look very shiny. Moving on to cuticle care. So I have this cuticle remover that you can buy at Sally's. I like this because it really does get the job done, and I'm just going to rub that into my nail bed and make sure it soaks up any debris, because it's going to soften that debris, and we're going to later try to get rid of it by pushing back the cuticle. You can buy a basic cuticle pusher at Sally's, but what you do is you just use the spoon end and push back the cuticle. So just rub it against your nail plate lightly just to get that debris. So you'll see the white debris, which is dead skin, coming off, and it's just sitting on top of the spoon end of the cuticle pusher. So this is good, because if you have that skin down there, it's gonna lift your polish quicker, and it's honestly just not appealing to look at anyways. So this is what pushing back your cuticle looks like. Once I'm done pushing back my cuticles, I'll then use the opposite side of the cuticle pusher, which I like to think of as a steel toothpick. And I'm just going to use it and drag it where I pushed my cuticles. That way, if there's any stuck under my cuticle, it'll then come out. So it's not just sitting there and building bacteria or anything later on. Now, I know most people are probably scared of cuticle nippers, but I like to use the half jaw size. That's how long the jaw actually is, so it's much smaller, and I feel like I have more control of where I'm actually cutting my cuticle. Now, a lot of states don't allow you to cut cuticles when you go and get serviced in a salon, but my state does. So I do like to do it, and the whole purpose of doing this is to get rid of that debris again. Now, the cuticle pusher doesn't always get all of it, so we're just getting any of that extra dead skin that's around the nail plate that could cause any chipping or lifting. And honestly, again, it's just really unappealing in my opinion, and I've never had any issues, so don't do it if you don't feel comfortable doing it. But if you feel comfortable, as you can see, so much comes off, and it's worth it in the end, in my opinion. When you're picking a buffer, again, I just use a simple 100/180 nail grit, so that's just the coarseness of the nail buffer. And I just want to do this just to even out my nail plate, and again, this will help get rid of any of those funky spots you might have like I did. So it's just really going to smooth the nail plate and make it really nice and ready for polish. Next step would be to buy these orangewood sticks, which they're actually called manicure sticks, but in school we called them orangewood sticks. And I use these to dig under my toenails to get any, dirt and yucky stuff that's under there. I prefer to use this versus the cuticle pusher, that pointy end, because that pointy end can definitely stab you, and I've done it a time or two, and let me tell you, it's not fun. So this is just a safe way to do it and to get rid of any of that extra gunk that's under there. So you could buy alcohol to cleanse your nail plate, but you could also just use acetone or whatever drying agent that you have handy. That's a good cheat, I would say. But I just use the alcohol, and you want to do this because we did buff the nail plate, so you might have gotten some sand grit from the actual buffer on your nail plate, and we don't want that. So I actually forgot to buy toe separators, so you could just as easily use Kleenex or paper towel and use the loop-de method. But honestly, if I'm being truthful, I don't like to use them anyways because I think they get in the way. So just do whatever works best for you. Now this is a dehydrator. So I use this whenever I use regular nail polish, because what the dehydrator is doing is it's completely drying the nail plate of any natural oils that might be still left on it. So when it's drying it out, what's going to happen is when we put the first coat of base coat, it's going to really adhere to the nail plate as best to its ability. And that's exactly what we want in this case. The next step would be to apply your base coat. Now I just picked Sally's basic base coat that they offer. I really don't have a preference when it comes to base coat, so just use whatever works better for you like usual, and just paint your toenails. And when you're painting your toenails, every coat you put, you want to make sure you're capping the end. So once you're putting it all over the nail plate like so, you're going to do one swipe at the end of the free edge, and then just use your orange wood stick to clean up if you need to. Once you think your base coat is dry enough, then you can start with your 2 coats of color polish. This color here is called Chick Flick Cherry, and it's by OPI. It's just a color I already had handy at home. Sally's did offer a ton of color options, so if you're looking for colors, you can definitely go there and pick some. But also keep in mind when you're doing each color coat that you have to also cap the free edge, just like before. So again, just paint the nail, and once you get to the end, just make sure you're capping that free end with one swipe across the front edge of the nail. What this does is it helps prevent chipping, because what you're doing is you're creating a barrier at the end. So when you're banging your toes, it's going to do its best to help keep it intact. So I definitely made a mess with my red nail polish, and I have this brush that I bought at Michael's craft supply store. And what this does is it definitely smooths out any like rough paint edges that I might have created and any extra paint that I might have gotten on my skin. So I just dip my brush in acetone and just swipe it through wherever I might have made a mess. But I also think this creates a nice transition when your toenails are growing out versus having like a squiggly line of paint at the bottom of my toenail. It'll be nice and smooth, so it looks really fresh. Alright, now it's time for the grand finale, which is the top coat. I have used this top coat for so long, ever since I was in beauty school. It's by far my favorite top coat. I think it's pronounced Seche Vite, and it makes my regular nail polish look like gel. And I really recommend buying it. It's a little bit more on the expensive side at Sally's, so I hope you guys can find it cheaper on Amazon or something. But it is worth it, I promise you guys. It makes your toenails look extra shiny. Once I'm done with my top coat, I'll let it dry for at least 60 seconds, and then I'll go in with this Drip Dry by OPI, and what I'll do is I'll place it at the cuticle of my toenail, and I'll let it drip down onto my entire nail plate, and it'll just help dry it quicker. But I also think it kind of hydrates my cuticle since I just used acetone around my skin. You guys definitely don't have to do this, but I just wanted to share this with you on how to properly clean your tools. So what you want to do is just take one of these brushes, and you can buy these pretty much anywhere, and you just want to scrub your tools that you used with any kind of soap. I like to use dish soap, something that's a little bit more antibacterial. Just scrub it and make sure you're rinsing them once you're done, and just lay them flat. Then you'll take this barbicide, which is hospital grade barbicide. This is what will disinfect the tools. So the rule is Per every 32 ounces of water, so that's about 4 cups of water, you want to add 2 ounces of barbicide. So 4 cups of water, 2 ounces of barbicide, that should be enough for you at home. So you want to mix those together. Then you want to take the tools that we've already sanitized with soap and water and place those in the disinfectant solution. You want to make sure that your tools are completely submerged. So if you need to add more, just go based off the measurements and add more or add less, just depending on your preference. And then you want to dry them completely. So I just use a paper towel, that way I'm not getting any fibers stuck in my tools. And I completely dry them as well as my brushes, because those will keep bacteria in them as long as they're wet, and we don't want that. Once they're completely dry, you can bag them and store them until your next home pedicure and you're good to go. Alright you guys, so that is my at-home pedicure. It's definitely not the usual steps that you would get when you go to the nail salon. It's just something I do because it's just so much easier since you're in the shower. You don't have to go out and buy a pedicure little tub or anything and rinse out a bowl that you have in your kitchen. You can just do it in your shower. So it's pretty simple, pretty easy, pretty basic. You can find what steps work best for you and use certain products that work better for you. You're gonna be less prone to infections because it's gonna be used on you and you only, if you use them on yourself, that is. It's just a much healthier way to do it because you're gonna know for sure that your tools are being cleaned and that your products are only being used on you. I'm not saying never go to the nail salon. People are always gonna go to the nail salon and that's okay. I just wanted to show you guys what it would be like to give yourself a pedicure at home. If you guys give yourselves pedicures at home just based off this video, please leave a comment below. I'd love to hear about it. And also if you use any of these products or the scrub, also leave a comment because I'd love to hear what your guys' experiences are like using these products, if you like them. That is all I have for this video. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, make sure you give it a big thumbs up and also make sure you're subscribed to my channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye!